Los Angeles.
I was just a kid when I seen Kobe play. Back in '96, I was blown away. Proud to wear the jersey, it was number 8. It's heavy on my heart, but I don't show the pain. I remember you were sitting on that bench next to Phil Jackson, you the coldest ever since. If I had to pick Jordan or Kobe, you know what it is, we reppin' LA, homie.
Welcome. This is a special edition of the Dad Podcast. I have a special guest with us today. You may hear the voice and think that sounds real familiar. It's Melissa from the GETUP Crew. And as I was just mentioning with her off air, the reason why I want to bring her on is because, like I always say, man, it's all about giving roses to great people around us. And when I lost Kobe Bryant last year, and I say I because I felt like he was family, and Melissa and her crew is another one that I feel like they're family. But over the last decade, we grew up with them, we laughed with them, we even cried with them a couple of times. And a lot of times they were the voice that we needed when the world was going crazy, whether it be in the Fenway, what happened at the Boston bombing, David Ortiz in Fenway, what's going on over the last year, whatever it is, they've always been the voice that we could just turn on and listen to. And especially with the pandemic being so crazy, like me and my son, we drive around. He's got me out Pokemon hunting at 7 in the morning sometimes. There's 7 Pokemons out there. And some of I gotta change them. Most of the time, he wants to hear what happened on the second date update, and he gets mad.
I love it.
And without them, it's just small things that they do and they give us. Like, we forget how lucky we are to have a little bit of normalcy, and we appreciate what they've done, and we just want to give them their roses and say thank you. We appreciate you. So thank you first. So thank you for all you've done for us, and thanks for being that voice. But also thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. I appreciate you asking me and for the nice words. It's funny because, as you know, I've been, doing Boston radio for a very long time. And as long as I do it, sometimes, you forget that there's actually people listening. And, it's funny because I do get people come up to me all the time and saying things similar to what you're saying, but about how they've been listening and growing up with us for years. And, we've literally been with them through life stages and things that have happened in their lives. And I'm telling you right now, it never gets old. Like, I literally feel like each and every person that listens to us is a friend. Mm-hmm. And I've met so many people over the years, and it never gets old hearing people say that they love listening to us. It's something that it literally melts my heart. And just seeing people grow up with us over the years, it's been amazing. And I appreciate you inviting me on. And I think what you're doing, by the way, is amazing. Just being able to share this time with your son and, trying to teach him about new experiences and different people and cultures and stuff like that, I think is amazing. So, continue doing what you're doing. I think it's a great thing.
And not only that, but I'm not sure if everyone knows, but you're also a coach, and that's something that I have in common with you. I'm a football coach, and you're doing a cheer.
Yes.
And I know just last year, being away from your team had to be crazy. Like, how was that?
It's been so I've been coaching in the Taunton Pop Warner system for probably 18 years now, which is strictly volunteer. And I also coach for an all-star cheerleading program as well. It's in this past year, the Pop Warner program has been obsolete. So as far as cheer goes, so I've been volunteering with the Taunton Pop Warner organization for like 18 years now. Pop Warner obviously got canceled. Mm-hmm. I also coach at Cheer Factor. It's an all-star cheerleading gym. We have, believe it or not, been practicing throughout the pandemic, but we've been doing it following all of the state guidelines. Mm-hmm. Everyone has been masked. There's been we've been socially distant, believe it or not. We've been only allowing a certain number of people in the building. The building is very, very large. Okay. So we've been able to maintain some kind of normalcy, but all of our competitions have been virtual. There's been no in-person live competitions, although they just announced there will be one in-person live event in the middle of April in Springfield that we will be going to. So that's exciting. But just in general, as you know, like, kids have completely had their life. I mean, everybody's had their lives turned upside down, but it's different for kids. I feel like their social part of their lives is completely gone. They've been, all of their sports and just things that they've been doing, things that have keeping them kids and keeping them normal has been completely been turned upside down. And not having these things available to them it's been heartbreaking, to be honest, to watch. It really has. But hopefully we're on the up and up. So
like my son's 9 and he just got his black belt, his apprentice black belt at 9.
Oh, nice.
A lot of it was virtual and doing it through Zoom.
Yeah.
Like one thing I told him we're gonna focus on is like even though he's not in the studio, you can train anywhere.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing.
We were doing that for a while, as a matter of fact. At the beginning of the pandemic, when everything was shut down, we had classes every single day for our athletes at my All-Star gym. We were doing Zoom classes, and we would do like training and conditioning, and we'd go for runs together. Like it was really cool the way that we were able to adjust. Obviously not the same as being in person, but I think that a lot of organizations have had to do, adjust and doing things through Zoom. And I think it's taught all of us very valuable lessons, of different ways to be able to communicate and interact with your team, whether it be at work, whether it be at school, or, doing karate, doing cheerleading. Like it's definitely been an eye-opening experience, and learned a lot of lessons through this whole thing.
And I know, like with me coaching at the high school, we have to have practice because it's football, and you have to have. And we started off where the kids had to wear masks, and the coaches did it, and the coaches had to. So then now everyone had to, and I was wearing the Gator mask, but then now they said those are illegal.
They won't allow. Yeah, a lot of places won't allow those now. They say they're not strong enough. So
yeah. So I had to shave my full beard because I couldn't wear the small mask anymore. So everything's adapting.
Right.
Now on the radio front, have you all been in person, or you've been doing Zoom for that too?
Yep. So the only time that any of us was broadcasting from home was when Ramiro actually got COVID-19. He actually had it.
It would be him.
Yeah. So he had it, and he broadcast from home for a couple weeks. Actually, it might have been more than that. It might have been 3 weeks. But and then Pebbles actually was she never got it, thank goodness, but she had been potentially exposed. I don't believe she ever was. So there were a couple days that, because our company is very, very serious about coronavirus, and I will say that is one thing. They have been immaculate at making sure our offices are sanitized, that we have a temperature taker right in the front of the building when you walk in. We are not allowed to have visitors. The only people that have been live in person are the broadcast teams. Everyone else has been broadcast or working from home. And if there's any potential exposure with anyone, we broadcast from home. But for the most part, we've all been in the studio this entire time. And I will say our company has made us feel very, very safe. They've put up plastic dividers. The way our studios are is they're very, very, well, I don't want to say they're very big. They're big enough where we can all sit 6 feet apart, and they put up plastic dividers for us. And every studio is the same way. So it's actually worked out pretty good in that sense.
Yeah, I know, like with me, so I work overnight. I worked the third shift at Whole Foods. So we was around so many people.
Oh, you guys are essential for sure.
Definitely. And then a lot of times I go from work to the high school right away, and it's always nonstop. So I get tested every week.
Oh, wow.
And then we just found out we can get the vaccine starting tomorrow.
Nice.
So
oh, good.
And that's still the high school.
I got my first one last week.
And no side effects, no.
Okay, so I'll be honest. I got the Moderna.
Okay.
4 hours after I got it, I felt just tired. It wasn't like aches and pains and fever or anything. It was just tired. Like I felt run down. Went home, went to sleep, and then I was fine the next day. But I've heard with the Moderna vaccine, it's the second shot that really gets you. So I'm due for that on April 1st. I don't know when this is going to be posted, but April 1st will be my second shot.
And I know
keeping my fingers crossed.
So how close are you three off air?
Very close. I mean, the three of us have been working together as a team since, the late 90s. Well, we all started working. I started working at our former radio station in 1996.
Mhm.
And they were working there already at that time. So we all kind of were introduced to each other at that time. And then we started working together as a show after that. I don't remember the exact date, but we've pretty much gone through a big chunk of our lives together with, all of our families are know each other, and, we'll all celebrate holidays and birthdays and stuff together. So yeah, like it's definitely there. We are all part of each other's families in that sense. So
So
yeah,
you guys have your first big bash planned for when you guys can get together again?
I don't know if I can really say we're working on a couple things.
Mhm.
Let's just say that we're working on a couple things. So, stay tuned for that. But yeah, we're always thinking of something.
I'm in Providence. So you guys were in, I forget the station you was in, but then you just left and then you just came back.
Yeah.
But a lot of other radio stations, like they've had like a guest here. I know you guys had Wiggy for a little bit, but you have some. But you three core are what like Rhode Island knows and what we listen to and what we hear. Like my son knows all you guys. He'll ask me questions about like what happened on some of the podcast or the episodes. And me working third shifts, like sometimes I need something to listen to, and I can't listen to music because it gets me tired. I just go down the rabbit hole of second date updates. I've probably heard every single one of them.
Oh my God, so funny.
How crazy is like sitting there?
We found out that there's someone out there. I don't know who it is, but we found out that there's someone out there who's literally taken every second date update and put it on YouTube, and he's got a channel and he's got tons of them. We just found this out recently. I was like, oh my God, somebody like really went out of their way and did this, and it was. Yeah, I was dying. And like, it's funny too, because we do keep a good chunk of them on our website, but we're only allowed to have a certain amount. So they rotate. So they're not always all up at once. You know what I mean? So if you might miss some, or you want to go back and you want to hear some that were aired previously, like a couple of years ago. And yeah, so it's funny.
Like just listening to the one today with the B guy, I'm like, what in the world? Like, where do these guys come from?
You have no idea. Like, people are always asking us, like, are those real? It's like, you know what? You should hear some of the ones we can't air. Like, some of them get so insane. Obviously, there's a good chunk that are just boring that we wouldn't air it because it just either they don't answer the phone, or, they're just like, no, I'm all set, and they don't want to participate. Or like, there's a lot of that. And obviously, we only air the ones that are the most entertaining.
Yeah.
So those are the ones you hear.
I never forget there was one that actually like touched base with me. It was when a guy he went on a date for the first time with the lady, and her daughter called him dad because he had the same cologne as her father.
Oh my God, we got such a huge reaction with that one. That one was so emotional.
Yeah,
like,
and it was at the time for me. It was just like, wow, and it was just like, you guys like. It felt like there was so much emotion in the room, but you guys had to like stay with the call.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then Ramiro like doesn't have a serious bone, so he was like trying to keep the humor in it, but it was just something that another reason was just
that was tough. Yeah, that was a tough one. Yeah, I mean, obviously the goal is always to try to make people laugh, but there's times like that where you have to just sit back and be like, whoa, like that was intense.
And also, like, not only just bringing the comedy, but you guys touch base on everything. Like, how hard is it to be, like, the voice that everyone needs at the same time, but still sometimes you have to hold back because it's be a story that, maybe it's close to home, or it's a personal story, like, especially, like, in this age.
The one thing I will say is we are 100% real and authentic as far as, we won't sugarcoat things, and we won't hide behind things. If something comes across and we're like, we really need to address this, we'll address it, and we'll be as real and honest about it as we possibly can. Again, we do try to keep things light, funny, and entertaining, because after meeting with our listeners and doing a lot of research over the years, we find that that's what they come to us for. If they want to hear the serious and the newsy stuff, and like, they'll go to other places for that. A lot of people will come to us for an escape. So they come to us because they want to laugh and they want to be entertained. So that's what we kind of focus and, our show on is that And, you know, there are times when we get taken down different paths and we'll go with it. But for the most part, that's what we focus on doing every day.
And I think, like, especially like I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but like with 2020, with everything that happened, I think like I'm one that, you know, when I got out the military, PTSD was something that a lot of people wanted to diagnose with, and it was something that I always said I was fine, and then what I always catered to and grabbed to was things that made me feel normal, things that I can do that were normal.
Yeah.
And like really, there'll be times when like you have a trigger where you're listening to the radio and then it's staticky, and it would make you upset because you need something at that time.
Yeah.
And that's something I want to truly tell you, thank you. I appreciate you for, because coming home, I needed something to feel like I was back home again. And then just hearing you guys and all the stuff that you've been through, it's like you three have been like the voice of New England radio. And like I relate to you because I know you're a big pet owner, you're a coach. And it's just like when you say you relate to somebody, it doesn't have to be somebody from the same skin, the same sex, the same anything. It could just be a person you relate to.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I truly want to say thank you to you, because you've helped me so many times, and you made my bond with my son even more so, because he loves listening to it. He loves joking with it. And it's what we needed in 2020.
Well, first of all, we should be the ones thanking you. So thank you for your service. I don't think that, you know, our military gets treated as well as they should in this country. So, you know, 100%, you know, thank you to you for serving our country and everything that you've done. And, you know, what we're doing is a very, very small, minuscule, you know, part of the bigger picture. So, yeah.
And sometimes like when you do what you consider small, like whether it be the coaching, whether it be the voice, and even with your love for the cats, like those small things, they go so far. I know I messaged you why was you ever able to get the cat you were looking for?
I did get a kitten.
Okay.
I got a kitten. It was funny because during the pandemic, adoption for pets went through the roof, which is great. But it wasn't great for people like me who wanted to adopt, and I couldn't find any. Like I was looking at every shelter and they were all like booked, and they weren't taking any invitations for people to come and look at the animals. So I had to kind of put a word out for people. And someone said that they had a friend that had kittens and they couldn't keep them all. And they asked if I wanted one. And I said, yes. So I got Toast. Toast is now probably 5 months. And he's locked in the bedroom right now because he started playing with the lights behind me and he was shutting them off. So I had to put him in and then I have Butters, who I had adopted from the MSPCA back in 2017 when my first cat, George, passed away. So I have the two. So yeah, they're my babies.
Yeah, my son was like driving me crazy for a dog. And I kept saying like, there's so much. And then finally,
it's a big commitment.
Oh, it is. We finally adopted one 2 years ago.
Oh, yay!
He loves her, and then he said he wants another one.
Oh,
and I was, but I kept telling him, you do good in school. I'll think about it. He gets straight A's. Do good in martial arts. He passes all his tests.
And now he's got his black belt, so you owe him.
Oh, we fostered a puppy.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, we fostered, but then they found a forever home over the weekend.
Oh,
so my son took it really hard, but
that's why I get afraid. I mean, I can't foster because my apartment's so small. But I have a friend who fosters animals, and I always ask her, I'm like, how do you depart with them after becoming so close to them? And I'm like, oh my God, I could never do it.
But it took us so long to potty train, and then it was just like she finally started to get going, and then we found a home for her.
Poor thing. Well, I mean, they're happy, so that's the goal, you know.
So I'm gonna pop up a picture. Just tell me the first thing that comes to mind when you see this person.
Okay. David Ortiz.
Mm-hmm. And
this is our effing city. I mean, come on. I mean, he's the former face of Boston sports. I mean, when you talk about a Boston sports legend, he's one of the top ones that comes to mind.
Him and this one?
Oh, you're breaking my heart now. Now you're breaking my heart. Tough. I mean, I'm still hurt over that. Both of them. It's tough.
Now, have you ever got to interview him?
Yes. Tom or David Ortiz?
Oh, Tom.
Tom Brady, we talked to before. We talked to him on the phone very quickly before one of the Super Bowls. I don't remember which one it was, but it was very quick. It was probably like 7-minute interview.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Answered everything we asked, but obviously gives us the cookie cutter
Bill
answer.
Belichick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually funny story about Tom Brady. I actually met him at a club, like, relatively soon after they won their first Super Bowl. And it was a 50 Cent concert. And I saw him up in like the VIP area, and we were just talking, and what was his name? Who was it that was there too? Oh my God. Wes Welker. Wes Welker was there, and he was in the VIP too, and he was having a couple drinks. He was having fun. They weren't doing anything crazy, but like I asked Tom to take a picture, and he said no, because he didn't want to get any alcohol in the picture, which at the time I was kind of thought he was an ass for it. But I'm like, you know what? I 100% understand the way the media works. You can picture a Tom Brady out and there's drinks around. They're going to create it into something it's not. So I completely understood, and I never faulted him for that. But that was like the only time I've met him like in person was that night.
Kind of like him coming off the boat this year.
Oh yeah. He wasn't, but see, that's the thing, is he wasn't drinking. Wes Welker was. So I think he was just trying to like stay out of any, anything. So
What about this guy here?
Oh yes. Love Jason Tatum. I am not as much of a Celtics fan. I am a Celtics fan, but I'm saying as far as the main sports, I don't watch as much basketball as I would like. I watch it on the holidays. If there's nothing really else on, I'll watch the playoffs and all that. But when it comes to actual sports, football is my, like, I follow it all year long. I'm keeping an eye on, the trades going on right now. I'm very I love the game. I love football so much. Just the game of football itself. Like, football is a sport that I will watch any team that's on. It doesn't matter who it is. College, pros, I just love the game.
Not to upset you, but I'm not a Patriots fan, so
That's all right. A lot of people aren't.
No,
They're called haters, but that's okay. Just kidding. Wait, who are you a fan of?
I'm a Raider fan.
Raiders?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't won in my lifetime, but we're coming.
But that's fine. Like, no, why a lot of people will become, if they're not from there, they'll say it's because of a particular player. Why did you become a fan of Raiders?
When I was in 7th grade, we was at a camp, and Tim Brown came to talk to us.
Oh.
And he played for the Raiders, so he was my favorite player. So I just followed him wherever he went and just became a Raider fan.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. See, people don't realize the impact that they can have on other people just by going and visiting a camp like that. Look what happened. He made you a lifelong fan.
And it's so crazy.
Yeah, like, people, I don't think people realize, like, that's crazy.
It's crazy because Ty Law's son is on my football team, my coach.
Oh, nice.
And a couple of times he'll be at the game, and I was joking with him once that no kid knows who he was. And he's like, I didn't even retire too long ago.
He probably was. Wait, none of the kids knew who Ty Law was?
Yeah, none of them knew who Ty Law was. But he just walks around the place, and they're looking at him like he's just a regular person. And
yeah, that's probably how he wants it. He doesn't.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know what I mean? It's in his eyes. It's his son's time to shine now. Like, he probably wants no part of that.
He owns a trampoline park here.
Yes, that I knew.
He just walks around, and some people have no, like the guy, like adults know who he is, but the kids have no idea who he is.
That's hilarious, right? Between him and Lawyer Malloy and
all
those guys were such legends to us, and like to see Willie McGinnis, and now that they're like out living their just Kevin Falk living basic lives with their families, it's like, it's so funny. It really is.
So what kind of coach are you on the sideline when your Pop Warner football team's playing?
When our football team's playing, so our football teams usually aren't very good. I mean, we're always cheering them on, like, yay, let's go, but they're usually not very good. I always make the girls cheer as loud as they can, no matter what. If we're losing by 30 or if we're winning by 2, you just keep the same intensity the whole game. So
And
There's
I
really nothing.
actually, I actually started a flag football program, and I run
Oh
through
yeah.
NFL, run through NFL flag. And a couple years ago, we had probably 200 kids. Now we
Wow.
have now we have over 1,200 in 4 different sites.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my
because so many
God, that's
kids.
amazing.
We have a league we play at Durfee too. We have a league in Durfee,
Okay.
and then we have three in Rhode Island. We have two in one in East Line, Mass.
Get
So we're
out of
spreading.
here.
Yeah, we're spreading now just because there's so many kids who their parents don't want them playing football.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for you, but I think it's unfortunate because, you know, tackle football is really, really suffering right now.
Definitely.
With, the whole CTE stuff, and parents don't want their kids getting hit. They don't want their kids playing football. And it's unfortunate, I think, because I feel like football gets a bad rap sometimes. I really do. Yes, there's a risk of injury. There's a risk of injury. Oh my God. Sorry, my cat just jumped. There's a risk of injury in any sport. And I think that unfortunately tackle football is getting the bad reputation right now. Despite there's been a lot of when it comes to protective equipment and a lot of rules that they've instated, to try to keep the game safer, but it's still suffering. Like, I know enrollment in our program has gone down significantly. And I think that's why, you know what I mean? And so
We're actually having spring football. We started practice this week at the high
I think
school.
we are too. I think
So
we are too. I saw there was a registration going around for spring football. So which is good to see. Just for people to get out right now and do stuff and be active is cool.
So for my high school, we have over 50 kids come out for the freshman team alone. So we're having a good amount, but that's at a private school.
Okay.
So some of the public school, their numbers are definitely hurting, but at least the kids are getting out there and they're doing something.
Right.
And speaking of fitness, what about this guy here?
Oh, Mark.
He's got to be the face. He's got to be the face of Boston if David Ortiz isn't.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of all the Wahlbergs, even Bobby. Like, I grew up, obviously, New Kids on the Block was like my favorite, one of my favorite bands. And I was always in love with Donnie. And then recently, so when they started opening up the Wahlburgers all over the place, we've done a bunch of promotions with Mark and Donnie, and Alma was the mom was at one of our promotions, and they're a really, really nice family. I just love the fact that they all stay true to their Boston roots too. They never forget where they came from, and it's awesome. I love them.
It's funny because being from Rhode Island, like we always say, like you're a true Rhode Island if you won't travel. We think Boston's so far because it's more than an hour drive. So I've never been out to Waltham.
Which is crazy to me. I drive. So you ready for this? I live in Waltham, right, which is 11 miles outside of Boston. I coach Pop Warner in Taunton. Okay. That's about I used to live in Taunton years ago, but it's about a 45-minute drive, maybe a little more. And I would do that 4 days a week. There and back. And I do that all the time. So it's so funny to me hearing people be like, wow, you live so far. You live like 20 minutes away. I'm like, what? Like, I'm constantly driving like all over the place. So I bought my car with 30,000 miles on it in 2018, maybe? No, 17. It's got 185,000 miles on it now. Yeah, I drive a lot.
We bought our car in 2007. It just hit 65,000.
Are you serious? I do 40,000 in a year.
We went to a wedding in Philly and we got a rental for it.
Oh my God.
We don't travel at all. We just stay in Providence, and if you're going out to Narragansett or Newport, which is 45 minutes, you pack in a bag and that's a day trip.
Oh my God.
Even when we went
crazy.
We went to see Beyonce when she was at Gillette the last time.
Yep, I was at that show.
We ended up getting a hotel just so we didn't have to drive back.
What? Oh my God, that's so funny to me.
Yeah, we just stayed right at the hotel because we didn't want to be out there and then drive back, and
Wow.
the traffic was a night. I hate traffic. I get impatient in traffic.
Traffic leaving Gillette's a nightmare. Yeah, it's terrible.
So before we're gonna wrap up. So we have some rapid fire questions we're gonna ask.
All right.
And then the first one, it comes from my son. He's inspired by Fortnite, loves it.
Oh.
So you have to survive on an island for 1 week. You and 5 people. Who you taking?
My friend Lori, my friend Laura. Wait, are we talking celebrities or regular people?
No, anybody you want.
Oh God. Can I take my cats?
You can take your cats.
All right. Who else? Who am I taking? Seeing as I'm not dating anybody right now, I'm not taking a guy with me. I always should take a guy. Who could I take for a guy, like as a celebrity? Oh God. Put me on the spot. I know it's supposed to be rapid fire. I can't think. Jesus. Let me get back to you on the rest.
All right.
That was bad.
And then after you're done, you get to go down and have your favorite meal. What are you having?
Steak.
Any certain?
Ribeye steak, cooked medium with grilled onions and horseradish cream sauce.
From any certain place, or you doing it yourself?
I love Abe and Louie's. I love Abe and Louie's. I love Del Frisco's. I love Moo. I love Rare, of course, at Encore. Ruth Chris. Yeah, I'm a big steak fan, as you can tell.
If you had to say your top 4 Boston athletes of all time, your 4 favorite, who are they?
Tom Brady, Lawyer Malloy.
Wow.
Paul Pierce. And probably David Ortiz.
You seen Paul Pierce just got to be a finalist for the Hall of Fame, so hopefully he gets in.
I did. I know.
And then dream concert, you have 4 artists. Who's performing?
The Weeknd.
The Weeknd?
Barry Manilow.
Oh.
I am a big Barry Manilow fan. I know it's crazy. And I love The Weeknd. Bruno Mars. And trying to think of going back to, like, you know, let's say New Kids on the Block.
Okay.
I still love them. I went to their show a couple years ago at the Garden. Loved it.
Now, was you a fan of The Weeknd's halftime show?
Listen, I'm a bad person to ask. I'm like a diehard fan. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I was fighting everybody that was trying to tell me it wasn't good. I'm like, listen, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Dude was doing the best he could. He put $7 million of his own money into it. He's also, too, his new album tells a story, right? With all his videos, he's telling a story. If you don't know who he is or you're not a fan, you're not going to get it. So you're not going to get it. So it won't make sense to you. So you won't be a fan of it. So I understood people that didn't like it. But, you know.
And then the last question. So I know right now is International Women's Month. And there's some incredible women who are out there and incredible women who are doing some incredible things. And you are definitely one of them. And that's why I want to bring you on and salute you. If you could sit down with any woman, past or any present, who would you sit down with and why?
Oh, okay. This is not going to be so very profound to many people, but I would say Diane Warren. Diane Warren is she's a songwriter, and I write here and there. I used to write songs a while back. I kind of gave it up, and now I just will write, you know, anything. Like, friends of mine will give me things to proofread and rewrite for them, like either a resume or whatever, but I enjoy writing. Diane Warren is a legendary songwriter. She's been around since I was a kid, even before that. And she's written some of the best, most well-known, iconic #1 hits of all time. If you don't know who she is, Google her and you'll see she's written everything with people from Christina Aguilera to Boys to Men. You know, she's just amazing. And I would, oh, is that the doggy?
That's the dog, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
She's
Yeah,
going
so
crazy.
I would love to just sit down with her and pick her brain as far as how she writes, how she comes up with, you know, the topics that she comes up with, and just how she organizes and composes her music. And, you know, just, I would just love to get into her head and sit down with her for a day and watch her actually compose a song. And that would blow me away. I would pay $1 million for that if I had $1 million. But yeah.
It's crazy because just like going in depth, I realized more things we have in common. Because like when I was away in the military, like scrapbooking and writing, and I got big into poetry, and I would always write and I would always do poetry, but I never wanted no one to read it because it was just something I felt like was mine.
It's therapeutic. You don't need anybody to read it. Like, that's the thing about when you're writing, is it's a lot of times people write and they're not expecting anyone to ever see it. It's more so for you and your thoughts, and you just want to be able to express them in a certain way, and that's how people do it, you know.
And then finally, for those young girls who are out there and they're looking for, whether it be cheer, whether it be whatever they're doing, what's that inspiration that you tell that girl that's afraid to chase after her dream because it's just scary time, but then they just to know that they have positive people they look up to? And when you tell that girl that wants to chase her dream but she's afraid of feedback, or she's afraid to just take that first step?
This will sound corny and cliched, but like, don't give up. And if someone tells you you can't do something, that's when you need to go harder and do it. Because there's nothing that I've ever wanted to do more than to prove people wrong. You know, the best thing that could ever happen to someone is rejection, or someone telling you can't do something, because that's what you need to use to fuel your fire and to just keep you progressing and keep doing what it is you want to do. And don't ever let anybody tell you different, because there's always going to be people out there that are going to tell you you can't do something regardless of what it is. You need to take that and use it as motivation, and then write that person's name down in your journal. And when you become famous, or not even famous, when you reach whatever goal it is you want to reach, go back and find that person and say, hey, by the way, guess what? I did it. And thank you. Give them a thank you, because guess what? You were the motivation.
And you're the motivation for a lot of people. And that's why I want to have you on to salute you. Just thank you and thank your whole crew for everything you've done for all these over 2 decades, and what you continue to do, because without you guys in the morning, it's just not a normal day in New England. So that's why I want to salute you and give you your roses.
Well, like I said to you, thank you for your service. And on behalf of the entire show, I can just say thank you to you and to everybody who's been rocking with us over the years. Like, it's something that we will forever be indebted to the city for listening to us. I mean, when we're doing our show every day, sometimes you forget who you're really talking to, because you're in a room by yourself. You don't realize how many people are actually listening. And it never gets old getting out and meeting people and hearing people say how much they listen. It's so heartwarming to me. And we owe the city of Boston, you know, our gratitude. Like, we sincerely appreciate everybody for listening to us as long as they have, like, honestly. So thank you. And thank you for having me on. This was fun. Please give my best to your son and tell him I wish him the best of luck with everything that he's doing. And
I will appreciate it. He has to hit those books first, always.
Yep, that's right. He's got to get those straight A's. He can do it.
Thank you again for all you do.
You're welcome. Thank you.